Astrid lives alone with her dad. She has no idea she is a werewolf, or that they even exist. It turns out the man that helped raise Astrid isn't her father at all. He tells her that her mother wanted her to have a normal life until the day she turned 18, when she would have no choice but to tell Astrid the truth about her identity. After a tragedy that defeated her mother, her father turned abusive towards her over the years for her mother's death. Astrid remained completely unaware of her heritage until a man named Riker came into her life, claiming they are alliances. Please join us in reading through this story. If you are watching, please hit the like button and leave a comment telling us where you are from. Let's get started. I look up to see Riker staring down into my eyes with sadness. There's more I need to explain to you, but it can wait till tomorrow, he says softly. I nod, then look at the clock. It is late. I should have been home ages ago. Pushing myself out of Riker's arms, I bolt for the door to leave, impatiently turning the handle clockwise and counterclockwise to no avail. It's late. I really must return, I say, looking at the door anxiously. Astrid, it is not safe out there tonight, and I cannot let you walk into danger alone, Riker says softly, his eyes filled with genuine concern. Please trust me for just one night. Stay within the safety of this sanctuary, I explain, trying to force the door open. Astrid, I won't let him lay a finger on you again. Do you hear me? Riker says sternly. He will hunt me down, Riker. He will defeat me if I don't go home. He will come looking for me here, I argue. Good, let him come, because it is the last time he will ever see you, Riker says. What are you going to do to him? You can't defeat him, I say. Why not? If I defeat him now, you will never have to fear him again. I know he has hurt me, Riker, but my mother loved him. I'm the cause of her death. I don't want to be the reason the man she loved vanished too, I cry. Riker steadies my chin with his hand to make me look at him. I think you should tell me what happened that day. The day your mother vanished, he says. The only person I told is Dad. I don't want to do it again. I look away in shame. Maybe in time you'll tell me. I give him a small nod. The phone at the diner rings. We look at each other knowing it's Dad, asking why I am not home yet. Riker nods to Jim to answer it. Yes, this is Jim's diner. How may I help you, Jim says. Yes, Astrid is here. No, sorry, she won't be coming to the phone. And no, she won't be coming home, he says matter-of-factly. Let me repeat myself. I don't think you got the message clear enough. Astrid is not coming back to your house again. And after a few moments of Jim just listening, oh really? Well, after what you've done to Astrid, my friends and I look forward to your arrival. He slams the phone down and looks at Riker. I look away. I don't know how to feel. I have mixed feelings. I feel happy and safe knowing Jim just stood up against Dad for me. At the same time, nobody has ever stood up against Dad for me. The feeling is liberating and daunting. He says he is on his way with his shotgun to come and take her home. I freeze at his words. Riker, I don't want anyone to get hurt. Just let me go back with him, I whisper. Number, if you go with him, it will never end. You'll be hurt again. Or worse, defeated, he says. What happens to me isn't your problem, Riker. I can look after myself, I say. Riker lets out an angry growl. It is my problem because you're my alliance, he shouts. We glare at each other for a moment. I know you're going to tell me tomorrow. but I want to know what the alliance is right now, because there is obviously more to it than just being your girlfriend, I say. Riker sighs. Promise you won't freak out. I am not promising anything, Riker. Maybe we should wait till tomorrow then. You have enough on your mind to process at this stage, he says. I slam my fist on the table. I want you to tell me now, Riker. I yell as I sit down on the chair opposite him. Riker looks away before inhaling and exhaling sharply. He sits down on the chair and looks into my eyes. His eyes convey 1,000 untold stories. Maybe he doesn't know where to begin. He stretches his arms out and opens his hands. Give me your hands, he says with a soft smile. Why? It will make it easier for me to explain what the alliance is and the alliance bond, he says. Okay, I say softly as I place my hands in his. On our 18th birthday, when our wolf awakens, we can sense our alliance when they're near. Sometimes we find our alliances straight away, and sometimes it takes years. Your alliance will have the most amazing scent you've ever smelled. It will trigger your wolf in ways you can't hide, deny, or contain. Your wolf will want to be unleashed to follow the scent. Once you make eye contact with your alliance, your wolf will announce that person is your alliance. We develop an instant connection. Oh, and lastly, I am the alpha, and you're my alliance, so that makes you the Luna of the pack, Riker finishes. My reaction unsettles him. I feel like a stunned deer in headlights. My mouth is agape and I'm staring straight at him. My mind goes into shock registering all this new information. Very slowly I stand, inhaling and exhaling. I look at the back door through the kitchen. I'm as calm and as quiet as a mouse. Astrid, he starts. I raise my index finger for him to be quiet. This is met with his confusion and a raised brow. All eyes are on me as I calmly walk toward the kitchen. I run like the wind as soon as I get to the back door. Be his Luna, and stay with him forever. I only met him 2 days ago. This is not happening. They have all gone crazy. Or is it me going crazy? I don't even know anymore. If he thinks I am going to go back home with him, he has another thing coming. All these thoughts and questions envelope my mind as the pack chase after me. I run as fast as I can through the trees in the woods. I don't get very far before I'm grabbed and pushed onto the ground by Riker's very quick arms. He is as gentle as possible, but I'm in a lot of pain from the beatings. Riker lets out a small growl. Why did you do that? Why did you run from me? He asks. Maintain boundaries, I yell. I'm pinned to the ground on my back, and his face and his breath are inches from mine. Our breath is misty in the cool night air. Will you run if I get off you? He asks. Probably, I mumble. He lets out another low growl. The sound of a shotgun goes off in the direction of the diner. Riker stands and takes my hand to pull me up. Our skin-on-skin contact is magical. I don't ever want to let go of his hand. I'm scared of what is about to unfold as we run back to the diner holding hands. My father stood there, surrounded by an icy, threatening aura that chilled everyone present outside. He watches me step out from the concealment of the woods, holding Riker's hand. A sudden, chaotic, magical shockwave erupted between them, throwing the courtyard into complete darkness. When the light returned, Riker was on the ground, his energy dangerously depleted, his face pale as his spiritual shield shattered. I rushed to his side, placing my hands over his fading protective mark. Desperately trying to channel my inner light to sustain his weakening warmth. My father stood there, unyielding, but the protective pack members stepped forward, using their collective energy to suppress his threatening aura. With a wave of command, Seth bound my father's movements completely, neutralizing the threat without a single blow. My father scoffed, glaring at me one last time before his energy faded, and he retreated into the shadows, leaving the courtyard in a tense but safe silence. Luna, we removed the bullet. He should have started healing by now, but nothing is happening, Seth says, turning away as his eyes well up. Number he can't vanished, Seth. I can't have someone vanish again because of me, I say. Pushing past Seth, I run to Riker. The pack members move like I'm someone important. They give me some time with him. I lay my head on his chest and burst into tears. Riker, please. I am sorry. Please don't vanish. I am sorry. It is all my fault. Please wake up. His breathing is faint. I sit up and put my hands over his wound. Please, Riker, I cry. I promise I'll come home with you if you wake up. Placing my arms around Riker, I return my head to his chest and cry. After a moment, warmth flows through my body. Astrid, none of this is your fault, Riker whispers as he caresses my back. Riker, I say, sitting up to look at him. The pack members race over to see Riker waking up. I run my finger over the healed wound, now a scar. Riker's eyes go completely black for a moment. It is healed, I announce. Riker holds my hand and brings it to his lips, giving me a kiss that sends a hot shiver down my spine. It's because of you, Astrid, and our alliance bond. If you weren't here, I probably would have vanished, he smiles. If I wasn't here, you wouldn't have been shot in the first place, I say, tears still streaming down my face. Riker pulls me into his chest, wraps his arms gently around me. Nuzzling his face into my neck, he sweetly whispers, "It is going to take more than a bullet to take me away from you." I want to melt into the floor at his words. I lean my forehead affectionately against his. Suddenly, I realize what I'm doing and push myself away from him, blushing. Riker lets out a small chuckle. "That is the alliance bond," he explains, smiling. I cross my arms and glare at him. Everyone laughs. "You two definitely make an interesting, cute couple," Seth laughs. "We aren't a couple," I say. Riker is more dismayed than he should be. It's really awkward and quiet after that. Seth follows me out the front door, but I'm not planning on running. Walking over to where Dad lies under the spell, I take in his energy-stained body. He is breathing, but definitely not going to be waking up anytime soon. Seth and I walk over to some grass and lie down to look up at the stars and the moon. Riker has a glum look on his face, and the diner is probably full of chatter about what I said. "Seth, I am sorry if I upset you and your alpha and the others," I say sincerely. Seth sighs. "We need to remember this is all very new to you, Luna. You haven't turned 18 yet. I think once you've settled into Shadow Crest and adjust to the way we werewolves live, everything will settle down for you. This isn't the life I wanted. This isn't what I thought it would be, Seth," I confess. "That may be true, but it is a life that the moon goddess herself chose just for you, which is a great blessing and an honor bestowed to you," he reassures me with a gentle smile. Riker and the others come outside. Riker puts his hand out to pull me up from the ground. "How are you feeling?" I ask. Riker smiles. "Well, there's a hole in my heart, but it's all right because you came along and filled it." Pushing him away, I giggle. He smiles and opens the car door. "Luna's in first," he says. I roll my eyes and hop into the back seat with Riker. We're sitting as close as we possibly can. Are you trying to sit in my lap? I joke. Can I? He asks. We laugh. Let's get the hell out of here, Riker says. Seth drives toward Shadow Crest. How long does it take to get there? I ask. Depends who's driving, I guess. Riker jokes. I give him a look. Okay, just under an hour, he answers. I yawn loudly against his chest. Sleep, my Luna, you need rest, he whispers, holding me tightly as I drift off to sleep. It's around 1 a.m. when we arrive at Shadow Crest. I wake up to Riker carrying me in his arms. It's dark and quiet. Riker, I can walk, you know. I know, but I want to carry you, he says with a grin. Put me down, Riker. He gently puts me down. We are at the front entrance of a mansion. It's 3 stories high. Facing the front door, a big white staircase ascends to the 2nd floor. The balconies on the 2nd and 3rd floors are to vanish for, and I really love the white French doors and windows. The house is bordered in manicured green hedges, and flowers grace the garden sweetly. A big water fountain sculpted in the shape of 2 wolves is a serious outdoor focal point. This is where we live. This is the pack house, Riker says proudly. It's really big house for just 2 people, I say. Oh, actually, a bunch of us live in this house. Riker scratches the back of his head nervously. You never said I'd be living in a house with a bunch of werewolves, I say. It is normal for the Alpha and Luna to live in the pack house with the Beta, Gamma, Omega, the cook. Guests from other packs come and visit too, he explains. How can I stay with a bunch of werewolves I don't even know? I ask, crossing my arms. Astrid, no one here is going to harm you. In fact, you being here will bring a lot of excitement to Shadow Crest. I know it is a big adjustment, but please give it a few days and we will talk about it if you're still uncomfortable, Riker says. Sighing, I say, okay, fine. Riker opens the front door. Seth is behind us. Well, I am going to jump into bed with my alliance. I look forward to you meeting her after your rest, Luna, he smiles. I prefer Astrid for now, I mumble. Seth and Riker exchange their thoughts on that with a look behind my shoulder before he leaves and goes to his room. Come, our room is on the top floor, Riker says as I follow him upstairs. Wait, our room? Don't I get my own room for now? Riker pauses, and after a moment in thought, he nods. Your room for now will be the room beside mine. Okay, I nod. We make our way to the top floor. This place is huge. There are so many rooms and hallways. This is where I sleep, Riker says, opening a large door. It's a very large room with a king-sized bed and walk-in wardrobes either side. The windows are the largest I've ever seen in a house. I look forward to seeing what the view during daylight is like. Riker motions for me to go to follow him into the room beside his. This room is your room. You have a walk-in wardrobe, a bathroom, king-sized bed, balcony. And in the corner here, a nice comfy couch, he says. It's a beautiful room, only slightly smaller than his. Make yourself comfortable, make this your home. When you wake up, there will be fresh towels in the bathroom, and I'll ask Seth to see if his alliance, Mia, can loan you something to wear. When you're ready for breakfast, wait for me so we can go down together. Then I'll take you shopping for clothes, Riker smiles. Okay, thank you, I say, appreciatively. Before I go, you've been through a lot tonight. Will you be okay on your own? I know you aren't comfortable sharing a bed just yet, but I can sleep on the couch here if you want me to, he offers. I think about it for a moment. I think I'll be okay, Riker. He nods and leaves, closing the door behind him. I let out a yawn and walk over to the bed. It's so fancy and pretty and looks expensive. I eye the couch for a moment and curl up on it with a wrap and fall asleep within minutes. I look at the clock on the wall. It's just after 7 a.m. I sit up and rub my eyes and remember everything from the night before, the diner last night. Dad, it isn't a dream. I open the bathroom door. It's just as glamorous as the bedroom. The marble sink and the granite floor, the gold taps, the chickness of it all. I run a bath and in a cupboard find many soaps, bubble baths and lotions. This is every girl's dream. Taking one of the bubble baths, I squirt it into the bath water and place a body wash and shampoo on the side of the bathtub. I remove my dirty hoodie and jeans. I'm just about to discard my bra when there's a knock at the door. "Who is it?" I ask. "Hello, Luna. It is me, Mia." Alpha Riker said, "You need something to wear." "I brought you one of my dresses. It is going to be warm today," she says, loudly and excitedly. "Okay, let me unlock the door." I open the door to see a very sweet-faced, blue-eyed girl with brown, shoulder-length hair, around my height and only a little older than me. I'm guessing no older than 19. Her face lights up with the biggest smile before it changes into a look of horror. "Luna, what happened to you? There are bruises everywhere," she says, dropping the dress and covering her mouth with her hands in shock. I look down at all the bruising and swelling in my black underwear and bra. Ashamed, I hug myself and look away. "Mia, just leave the dress and go, please," I say. "But, Luna," she says before I shut the door and lean against it so nobody can enter. I cry. "Just leave the dress there and go, Mia," I say, trying not to let her hear me cry. The bath is about to overflow. I run to it and quickly turn the taps off. I remove my bra and underwear. I lower myself into the water. My whole body stings. I rub the body wash all down my arms and legs and shampoo my long brown wavy hair. After the bath, I dry myself off. I find a neatly folded maroon-colored dress with a bra, some underwear, and slip-on shoes. The short-sleeved dress sits just above my knee, hiding some bruises. The sweetheart neckline unfortunately doesn't hide much. I find a brush behind the mirror door and eye my reflection, my green eyes, small nose, and pink lips. The bruising around my eye has gone down a lot, thankfully. I apply a small bit of foundation, I find, to hide what remains of the bruising. Riker and Seth are talking just outside my room. "You know this isn't going to go down well with Alice," Seth says. "I know, but I have my alliance now, so things have changed." I open the door. They go silent and smile at me. "Luna, that dress is very flattering on you," Seth smiles. "Thank you," I smile. Riker walks over to me. "You look beautiful, Astrid," Riker says. His face lights up with a big smile. "I am so hungry," I announce. "Well, you are about to meet Alice downstairs. She's the cook," Riker says. Riker insists on holding my hand down the stairs in case I fall. I know it's just because he just wants to be close to me and enjoys our closeness just as much as I do. We enter the dining room. A plate smashes to the ground. "What is the meaning of this?" the older lady asks, staring at our hands. Everyone stands at the table as we walk in. "Alice," Mia says, "the special guest I was telling you about is actually our Luna. Can you believe Riker finally found his alliance?" Mia says in a bubbly and chirpy tone. Alice looks at me and glares. "Now that you've met Astrid, your Luna, you can now finish serving breakfast," Riker says, smiling at me. Alice huffs off back to the kitchen. What is her problem? Taking my seat at the table, Riker sits next to me, Seth sits beside Mia and kisses her forehead. Astrid, you already know Seth and Mia. This is Gamma Kane and his alliance, Haley. It is a pleasure to finally meet you, Haley says. Luna, Kane says, bowing gentlemanly. Nice to meet you. Is Alice always this grumpy? I ask. Everyone laughs. Actually, yeah, she can be a bit full on at times, but just ignore her. Haley smiles. Oh, okay, I reply. Alice comes out from the kitchen carrying a stack of pancakes while glaring at Riker and plonks them down onto the table. Riker follows her into the kitchen. Excuse me, Astrid, I need to get myself some water. Moments later, we hear them arguing. Is everything okay? I ask. Everyone passes knowing looks across the table. I am sure everything is fine, Luna, Haley says, giving me a reassuring smile. So you'll be 18 soon, Mia says. Yes, in 9 days, I smile. How exciting. You must be excited to meet your wolf, she asks. Riker said something about shifting into a wolf on my 18th. I'm going to turn into a wolf. I don't want to shift. I don't want to meet my wolf. What if I hurt someone or defeat again? I can't repeat what happened to Mum. My chest suddenly feels heavy. I start hyperventilating. Luna, are you okay? Mia and Haley ask. With teary eyes, I stand. I am sorry I can't do this. I can't be here. I run out of the dining room and down the hall until I find the front door. I run down the street and just keep running, with no idea where I'm heading. It's a beautiful town with lush trees all around and plenty of parks. I see a shopping strip up ahead and some cute cafes and some clothing stores. There are plenty of people around who are most likely werewolves. I feel a lot of unwelcome eyes on me. I spot a watchtower and go there. After climbing hundreds of steps, I take in the view. Shadow Crest Shore is beautiful. A dense, green forest surrounds the town for miles around. There is no way of telling which way is which. I sit down defeated and dangle my legs over the ledge, resting my head on the rail. What am I going to do? Turning into a werewolf scares me, but I can't run from that. It is going to happen no matter where I go. I reflect on last night. Suddenly, I feel a presence behind me. Riker lets out a heavy sigh and sits down next to me, dangling his legs over the ledge. Riker, I am sorry I ran off. I just panicked and didn't know what to do, I explain. Do you want to talk about it? Mia mentioned what she said, he says. How am I supposed to come to terms with shifting into a wolf, shifting into something I've greatly feared since I was 7 years old? I don't want to meet my wolf, Riker. I don't want to shift, I cry. Riker puts his arm around me and pulls me close. His nose is nuzzling my neck and sending tingles through my body. Astrid, I want to help you conquer your fears. I will be with you on your first shift. I will help you transition through it. I won't lie, the first time is the worst, but it gets easier. I promise to help you through it, he says, tucking my hair behind my ear. I nod and rest my head on his shoulder, silently taking in the view of Shadow Crest. If you are ready, we can go to the shopping strip over there. I'd like you to meet some people. Okay, let's go, I smile. Let's try Medley's clothing store, Riker says. He opens the door and a bell jingles. Welcome to Medley's. How can I help you? Oh, Alpha Riker, the sales assistant says, bowing her head. What an honor to have you in my store. It has been a while, she says, giving him a platonic friendly wink. And who do we have here this time? She smiles while looking me up and down. This time, I ask Riker. Astrid, I'd like you to meet Medley. She is the owner here and will help you with some outfits, he says, smiling. And Medley, this is your Luna. Astrid, he tells Medley. Medley's jaw drops on Luna, and she bows her head. I am sorry. I had no idea Alpha found his alliance. How did Alice and Vanessa react to the news? She asks. Riker looks at me, then back at Medley. Alice found out this morning, so she will probably inform Vanessa. Today, the agreement is no longer happening. Right, well then, Luna, if you'd like to come this way with me into the change rooms, and we'll try on some clothes, she says. Following Medley, I ask Riker, who is Vanessa? She is just a friend of mine who has a small crush on me, but I wouldn't worry yourself over it too much, he says. Is that why Alice isn't very happy this morning? I ask. Riker nods. Yeah. Vanessa is her daughter, and all of Shadowcrest knows she wants to be my alliance. And Luna, he explains. She doesn't have a alliance, I ask. Her alliance vanished 2 years ago in her old pack, Shady Crest. She transferred to our pack after he vanished. She says they were abusive toward her, and she became the pack's slave. Alice and Vanessa decided to run away and found themselves here, and she developed a silly crush on me, he explains. I nod, accepting his explanation, and continue to the change room where Medley has hung dozens of dresses, tops, and skirts for me to try on. In what feels like a fashion call in a movie, Medley shows me a consecutive offering of chic clothes in an assortment of fabrics I've never worn before. Do you have anything more casual? I ask. You are a Luna and should dress as such, she says, smiling. I haven't agreed to be anyone's Luna. Until then, I just like normal clothes like everyone else, please. Surely Alpha has marked you, she asks, looking at my neck. I grab her wrist before she moves my hair aside and sees the bruises. You will keep your hands to yourself, I say sternly. Luna, forgive me. I'm so sorry. I'm completely out of line. It is just unheard of not marking your alliance right away. Especially an Alpha alliance, she explains. Medley excuses herself while I try on some of the clothes. I choose 3 casual dresses, a few pairs of jeans, a few tops, a couple of hoodies, and a couple of cardigans to go with the dresses. Medley returns with a few bra and underwear sets. These are the clothes I've chosen. You can take them to the counter with the undergarments you're holding, I say, following Medley to the cash register. She scans the items and places them into shopping bags. Is there anything else you need, Astrid? Riker asks as he pulls his gold card out to pay. Maybe a nightie to sleep in, but I don't know if there are any in this store. There are a few other clothing stores along here we can go to, he says. I nod, and we leave the store. Riker insists he carries the bags. We pass the next couple of shops and go into a nightwear store, full of pajamas and nighties. Alpha, it is a pleasure to have you here. What do I owe the pleasure? The sales assistant says, before looking at me. Daisy, this is Astrid, my alliance. Astrid, this is Daisy, he says. Oh, we finally have a Luna. The elders must be so thrilled, and you, of course, Alpha. She walks over to me and gives me a hug. I flinch. She squeezes me and I cry out in pain. Astrid, are you okay? Daisy asks. I am okay. My ribs are still healing, is all, I say. I should really take you to see the pack doctor to ease the pain, Riker says. It is fine, as long as I don't get squeezed again, I say. Luna, I am so sorry. "Whatever happened to you?" she asks. "It is fine, Daisy. You didn't know. I fell down some stairs at home," I lie, looking away. "Anyway, we're here because Astrid needs some nightwear," Riker says, changing the subject for me. I go around handing Daisy different sets of pajamas before we go into the change room. I find some of the silliest items I have no intention of buying. I put on a green dinosaur onesie with a long tail and exit the dressing room. The hood is the shape of a dinosaur's face. Riker bursts out laughing. "What about this one?" I ask. Riker is still laughing. "If that's what you want to sleep in, be my guest," he says with a smirk. I return to the change room, giggling before trying on an astronaut onesie. I walk out in slow motion as though I'm on the moon. "Houston, we have a problem," I say. Riker starts laughing again. "What is the problem?" he asks, chuckling. "The zip is stuck," I say, slowly walking back into the change room. The zip was completely stuck. Riker stood outside the cubicle, chuckling softly. "Do you need some help in there?" he asked playfully. I opened the door slightly, and he carefully helped me loosen the stuck zipper from the fabric, making sure not to tear the costume. We locked eyes for a brief, warm moment, the space filled with a sweet and gentle silence, before Daisy suddenly opened the outer door, while slowly unzipping the back of my onesie. I turned to face him. Our faces are almost touching. It is very hot in the change room. Our eyes are transfixed on each other's, and our breathing becomes heavy. I close my eyes, relishing his warm touch on my face. We're pressed so closely to each other, and our lips are about to meet, when Daisy opens the door. "How are you going in there?" "Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry," she says, blushing and turning around. Riker and I straighten ourselves up. "It is fine. Astrid is ready to try on the next one," he says, with a grin and a cheeky wink. I blush and Riker exits the small cubicle. "Here, tell Astrid to try these ones on," he tells Daisy. Daisy hands me a maroon two-piece set made from silk. The top is a button-up, short-sleeve silk shirt, and the bottoms are shorts. I think they're quite nice and modest when I try them on. "These are really comfy," I say, walking out with a smile. "Great. I'll buy them for you. Maybe try this set on too," he says, grinning. I turn before getting changed. Riker and Daisy are giggling. "Is there something wrong?" Daisy blushes and looks away. "Nope, nothing's wrong," Riker says, smiling, his arms crossed. I discover the source of their amusement later that night when I put them away. The silk set has "Bite Me" written on the bum. I try the other set on. The pants are very soft and have a slight fluffiness to them. I can alternate between a singlet top and a long-sleeve shirt with them. I walk out only to burst out laughing. Riker is wearing the same dark blue set in a men's version. "I thought we could have a matching set," he laughs. "Fine," I smirk, shaking my head in disbelief. I change back into my clothes. Riker has changed and has paid for everything. "Want to look around the other shops?" Riker asks. "No, I think we're good to go now." "Okay, let's go." We get back to the pack house in 10 minutes. No one else seems to be around, so we go upstairs to sort my new clothes out. Riker lies on his back with his eyes closed. I lean on the bedpost, admiring his handsome face for a few moments before lying beside him. "Astrid," Riker spoke. "I'd like you to meet my wolf tonight. I want to remove your fear of us." He turns his head to look at me. I turn on my side. "Okay, but I only want to meet yours for now," I reply. "Okay." He kisses me on the forehead. We decide to watch some movies downstairs. Can we make some popcorn first? I ask. Sure, I'll make it while you pick a movie. I flick through the list. There are so many to choose from that I can't decide. I close my eyes and press play on a random movie. Riker sits closely beside me holding a large bowl of salty, buttery popcorn. What are we watching? He asks. I am not sure. I couldn't decide, so I closed my eyes and picked a random movie. That is cute, he smiles. I giggle. The movie starts, and it turns out to be a scary horror film. Halfway through it, I have my face in Riker's shoulder, too frightened to watch the spooky parts anymore. You can hold my hand if you're scared, he says. I laugh. You wish, I laugh. I do wish, he says, grinning. I smile back at his confidence and jump in fright when the monster appears on the screen, out of nowhere, capturing and defeating the human who tried to get away. "Aw, baby, did the monster scare you?" Riker asks, as he swings my legs over his to cuddle me like a baby. I swat him, laughing, and lay my head on his chest. "Shh, I can't hear the movie," I whisper. Riker laughs. Watching the movie in Riker's arms, I don't feel so afraid anymore. Seth, Mia, Kane, and Haley arrive home just before the credits. They smile when they see me in Riker's lap. When the movie finishes, I get up and go over to the others. I am really sorry about running away this morning, guys. I didn't mean to upset anyone. It is fine, Luna. We didn't realize how new you are to all this. Seth filled us in. We felt so bad for upsetting you, Mia says. We exchange little smiles, and I, a hug with Mia. Riker and I are going to watch another movie. You should join us, I tell them. Sure, Haley says. Yep, sounds good, Mia says. The boys follow suit, making themselves comfortable. Riker smiles and pats his lap. He is happy we're watching another movie, so I snuggle into him. I can't refuse the offer if I try. His strong arms and masculine chest are a very comfortable place to be. The girls can't decide on a movie, so I take the remote from Mia before pressing play on something random again. Of course, it's another horror film, to all the boys' delight. We girls are definitely not great with horror films. We keep screaming, jumping, and flinching. Having our alliances holding us closely makes it all worth it. After the movie, right on dinner time, Alice still has a scowl on her face and tries to avoid me as much as she can. Riker takes my hand and leads me outside where we wander through the garden in the dark. Sit here and close your eyes for me, he says. I sit down with my legs crossed and my eyes closed. What are you doing? I ask. I am going to change into my wolf form. You can keep your eyes closed while you pat me, okay? Suddenly, I'm nervous, but trusting him, I nod and keep my eyes closed. A moment later, Riker, in his wolf form, nuzzles his fury face into my hands affectionately. My hands are shaking, tears roll down my cheeks. Flashbacks of my mother dying keep appearing in my mind. He whimpers to assure me it is okay. I'm too scared to open my eyes, but his fur is so soft. I cautiously raise my hand and place it on his soft, felt-like face. He is panting happily like a dog, and his tail dusts the ground in excitement. I let the fur glide between my fingers. I have both hands on the sides of his face. He steps closer and rubs his wet nose on my cheek. I giggle. It tickles. I laugh. I put my arms around his neck and he rests his head on my shoulder. I rub my face in his fur. It's so soft and warm. I think I'll try and open my eyes. I want to see what you look like, I say. He sits down in front of me, waiting obediently. I slowly open my eyes, letting the moonlight adjust my eyesight. Exhaling in awe, he is the most impressive wolf I have ever seen. His coat is long black and sleek. It shines and glistens in the moonlight. There is a sense of greatness and power coming from him. His four-pawed stance is one of pride. He nudges my face with his muzzle. I hold his face close to mine, enjoying the warmth and the connection. "Thank you, Riker," I say, a tear rolling down my cheek. He whimpers and licks my cheek. "Riker, that is so gross." I laugh and push him back. I stand and run, and he happily chases me. Laughing as I run through the trees, my long dark brown hair blows in the wind behind me. I zigzag through the trees with Riker, and his tail wags like a puppy's. After a while, I sit down to catch my breath. He nudges my shoulder and gives my cheek another lick. I giggle and push him away with my hand. Riker motions to his back. "You want me to hop on your back?" I ask. He nods. He has to lie down so I can climb onto his back because he is so tall. Once I'm on his back, I grip onto his fur and he runs further into the woods. He runs at great speed. Adrenaline courses through my body. The breeze whips past my face, and I can't help but smile. The feeling is exhilarating. I hold my arms out and bask in the wind rushing past us. Something out of the corner of my eye catches my attention and races toward us. "Riker, there is something," before I can finish my sentence. I'm knocked down from Riker's back with great force into a tree. I roll to the ground. Growling and teeth-baring ensue in a fight. I look up from where I lie to see a scruffy, small, brown wolf with a gray patch snapping at Riker. I try to stand, but everything is spinning. I remain where I am against the trunk of the tree. Riker and the other wolf encircle each other, snapping and growling in a sort of standoff. After demanding, they both shift with alpha telepathy. Riker and the female wolf shift into human form. With his back to me, he is completely naked, as is she. She is very pretty and has long blonde hair, brown eyes, a good-sized bust, and a curvy, toned figure. Letting out a growl, I glare. She glares back at me and crosses her arms. Did I just growl like a wolf? "Vanessa, you just hurt your Luna," Riker yells. "I am meant to be your Luna." She snaps. "Vanessa, we will discuss this another time. I need to see if Astrid is okay," he says, as he walks over to me. With blurry vision, I realize I must have bumped my head on the tree trunk when I was thrown. Riker grabs my arms to pull me up. With a hand on my cheek, he asks, "Are you okay?" "I think I hit my head. Everything is spinning," I say, rubbing my head with one hand and leaning onto Riker with the other. Vanessa marches toward us. "Don't you walk away from me, Riker," she yells. "Go home, Vanessa. We will discuss this tomorrow," he yells back. "I love you, Riker. I know you love me too. The arrangements have already been made. I'm your alliance and Luna," she yells. Gasping at her words, I look up at Riker. "Is this true, Riker?" I ask, praying that it isn't. He lets out a sigh. "Yes, it is true, but..." I slap Riker across the face before he can finish his sentence. "You made me come here. You convinced me to give you a chance. And all along, you already had an alliance and Luna," I yell. Riker has his hand on his cheek where I slapped him. "Astrid, you don't understand. I can explain all this. You are my true alliance, my fated alliance. Vanessa was just a chosen alliance. It is not the same. I didn't want." "Enough," I say sternly. I look at Vanessa standing behind Riker smirking. You can have him, I yell, making her grin. Astrid, please hear me out. You don't understand, Riker says as he tries to take my hand. I back away from him. You know, I was actually starting to think we had something special, that we were meant to be together until your rebel arrived. I yell. Vanessa glares at my words. Turning, I run toward the house, crying. Riker wants to chase after me, but Vanessa grabs his arm. I turn to see Vanessa trying to hug Riker, but Riker is yelling at her and trying to push her off him. Everyone inside the pack house asks if I'm okay. Why don't you all ask Vanessa? I snap at them as I run upstairs and slam my door closed. I curl up on the same couch I slept on the night before and cry until I fall asleep. The next morning there is a knock on my locked door. I ignore it. Astrid, I know you're there. Please unlock the door, Riker pleads. I don't want to hear his voice, so I lock myself in the bathroom, run a bath, and stay there for as long as I can. I put on a pair of jeans and the biggest hoodie I can find. It almost touches my knees. I pull the hood over my head. I don't know why, but it makes me feel invisible, like I'm able to hide from the world. It's an enormous sense of comfort. On the 12th knock on my door, Riker is frustrated and enlists Mia's help. It is Mia, Astrid, she says through the door. As sweet and bubbly as she is, I just want to be left alone. I brought you some lunch. I'll just leave it at the door, she explains. The last thing I want to do is eat food. I feel sick to the stomach thinking about how close I have become with Riker. I don't understand why he wants me. I get that I am his alliance, but he arranged to be with Vanessa. Has he even meant anything he told me? Or has he been playing me and lying to me this whole time? Exiting the bathroom via 2 gorgeous French doors, I sit on the balcony next to a large pot plant, hoping no one can see me. I keep hearing the odd door knock for the rest of the day and continue to ignore it. Sometimes it's Riker knocking, sometimes it's other people. It hurts me every time to hear the pain and the regret in his voice when he speaks. Haley knocks on the door when it's dinner time. I brought you some dinner, Luna. I see your lunch is still here. Look, I know you're upset, Astrid, and I understand why, but Riker is so distressed. We're struggling to keep him calm. We could really use your help to calm him down before he destroys the whole house. Feeling a little guilty hearing that Riker is tearing the place apart, I let out a heavy sigh, walk to the door and unlock it. Haley, holding a plate of food, smiles at me. Luna, thank you. Thank you, Haley. I am not hungry. Show me where he is. Haley nods. I follow her downstairs where Riker is growling and throwing a chair across the living room. The room is a complete mess. I stand there with my arms crossed, unimpressed with the mess he is making. He sniffs the air and spins around to see me. He races over to me, relieved. I look away, not wanting to look at him. Astrid, you've come out, he says, kneeling in front of me, clutching my hands. Everyone is watching us. Riker has been crying. He looks up at me with big puppy dog eyes. It's really endearing, and I'm struggling to stay mad at him. Astrid, I never wanted Vanessa to be my alliance or Luna. I'm only just 22. The elders told me they would have to choose an alliance for me because I hadn't found my true alliance yet, he explains. Why didn't you tell me that before? I asked. I tried to, but you were upset and locked yourself in your room. He is looking down at the ground. I kneel on the ground facing him. I am sorry. I wouldn't have locked myself in my room had I known. I'm feeling guilty. It is okay. You are out now. That's all that matters, He smiles, holding my face and patting my cheeks with his thumbs. I've spoken to Vanessa. I told her the agreement is off. I never agreed to any of it. The elders put it all in place, and I was shocked. I know she has always had a crush on me, but I never felt anything for her, he explains. Vanessa will adjust to it in time, Haley reassures me. I nod at Haley. How is your head? He asks, both of us standing up. My head feels fine now, I say. Come join us for dinner, Riker says. I am really tired. I'd rather sleep for the night, I say. You haven't eaten all day, though. Eat, and then you can go to bed, he says. I nod, and we sit at the table where Alice has placed assorted platters of food from which we can serve ourselves. Sitting down at the table, Vanessa walks in, smiling. She sits down at the table and starts scooping food onto an empty plate. My fork hasn't even reached my mouth yet. I freeze with her presence, and everyone feels awkward. What is she doing here, eating dinner with us? I ask Riker. Don't you know? I live in this pack house too, Vanessa says, with a sour look. My fork drops from my hand at her words and clutters noisily down onto my plate. You have got to be kidding me, I say. When the elders arranged for her to be Luna, she was expected to live here, Riker explains. I'm Luna now, Vanessa. You don't need to be here anymore, I say, smiling at her. Mia snorts at my confidence and Vanessa glares at her. Mia straightens and stops giggling. I heard along the grapevine that you might not even want to become the Luna or accept Alpha Riker as your alliance, she says. Riker growls and glares at her. If looks could defeat his could. That is none of your business, is it? I snap at her. Well, it is my business, because if you don't accept Alpha Riker within a certain time frame, the elders will still make Alpha Riker mark me as his alliance and initiate me as the Luna of Shadowcrest, she says, happily. I growl at her words. Did I really just growl like a wolf again? Everyone turns to stare at me, surprised at my reaction. Would they really make you do that? I ask him. Riker thinks a moment. There is a possibility, but I am sure it won't come to that, because you are here now. I don't see why we would have to rush anything, he says. Vanessa giggles. I guess we'll see what the elders prefer, your true alliance, who is weak and hasn't met her wolf yet, and apparently knows nothing about our world, or me, someone experienced and strong and willing to bear your pups straight away. She smirks. Riker and I growl in unison at her words. I exhale sharply. You're nothing but a scruffy little dog from the woods, I snap. Mia, Haley, and Kane burst out laughing. Seth tries to keep his composure. Vanessa stands. How dare you? I came from one of the strongest packs in the world. Shady Crest. We are known to be. I cut her off. Shady, I say. The whole table is roaring with laughter. At least I know what pack I come from, she snaps. Everyone goes silent, bracing themselves for my reaction. For all we know, you could be from one of the weakest packs, the Rabid Rebels pack or the Astral pack. I can assure you, when we meet your wolf, we'll know. And if you're from a weaker pack, the elders will intervene. You won't be allowed as Luna. I'll be chosen in your place. And what if I am not? What if I am from one of the strongest packs? I snap. Well, the strongest pack used to be the Moonstone pack. They have pure white wolves, but they were wiped out around 18 years ago, so keep dreaming. Shady Crest is the strongest now. and are gray or brown and gray, and I have never seen you there. Shadow Crest comes next. Alphas are black, and pack members are golden brown. Vanessa explains, smirking at me, feeling victorious. So you see, we already know you aren't from a strong pack. So, until you're officially initiated as Luna, I'm still in the running, she concludes. Standing up from the table, I walk away. Astrid, where are you going? You haven't even touched your dinner, Riker growls. I lost my appetite. I am not going to stay here and listen to this scruffy little mutt any longer. I storm off to my room and shut the door, locking it again. If she thinks she can speak to me like that and treat me like that, then she has another thing coming. Sleeping awfully all night, I get up early before sunrise. I make my way downstairs to the kitchen to make myself breakfast. Entering, I freeze momentarily as Alice is there, cutting up fruit. Alice pauses and looks up to see me. She becomes angry and the knife in her hand shakes. "Good morning, Alice," I say politely. She growls in warning. "I am just going to get myself something to eat. Then I'll be gone," I say. "Permanently, I hope," she mutters. "Alice, I get you're upset, but I never planned any of this. I didn't even know werewolves existed until recently. Maybe if we get to know each other, we might come to tolerate each other. Maybe even be friends," I say. I yelp when her knife flies past my face and into the wall. "I will never be your friend, and you will never be my Luna. Mark my word, Vanessa will become the Luna of Shadow Crest. I suggest you save yourself the hurt and leave now, because I can assure you, you won't live to see your 18th birthday." "Did you just threaten to defeat me?" I ask, in disbelief, looking at the knife in the wall. Alice closes in on me. I steel myself for whatever's next. "If you're not gone from here by your 18th birthday, Vanessa and I will shift and rip you apart. And if you speak of this conversation to Alpha Riker or anyone, I'll make sure it's the last day of your life." She snaps. My eyes well up. "Why do you hate me so much? Don't you want Vanessa to be happy? How could she be happy with a man who doesn't love her? A man who doesn't want to be with her?" Alice turned toward me, her eyes narrow and filled with hostility. She stepped forward, trapping me against the stone wall with her commanding presence. She held a glowing magical focus near my face, her voice a dangerous whisper. "If you do not leave before the dawn, we will ensure you forfeit everything," she threatened, leaving me trembling from the sheer weight of her words. "Good. Well, it was nice meeting you, Astrid. I hope we don't cross paths again," she smirks, and I leave the kitchen hysterical and affected. She is going to defeat me. She is going to defeat me if I stay. I don't want to leave Riker or the others. How can I tell them without her finding out? Bursting into tears, I dress quickly in jeans and a hoodie. I grab a small pack and pack another set of clothes in it. Do I just leave? Do I leave a note? Where will I go? I can't go back to my stepfather's house. Maybe I can camp in the woods for a few days. I can sneak food from the diner until I figure something out. The sun is starting to rise. I have to leave now. I climb over the balcony and down the latticework beneath. I run in the opposite direction from the shopping strip, hoping it takes me back toward Jim's diner. A couple of hours pass me by when I'm deep in the woods, and I freeze at the faint howl of a wolf in the distance. I know it's Riker, realizing I'm gone. Falling to the ground, I cry, "Please forgive me, Riker. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave you," I cry. Standing, I wipe my tears. They're uncontrollable. I suddenly remember when Riker explained he can smell my scent. I look around and grab some eucalyptus leaves from a low-hanging branch, removing my hoodie and jeans. I rub the leaves down my legs all over myself. I put my clothes back on, sticking a handful of eucalyptus leaves into the pockets of my hoodie and jeans. I run further into the woods. After a while, I resort to walking because I'm exhausted. Riker would have followed my scent until I used those leaves. I should probably change course too, in case he keeps going straight. Changing my direction, I stop at a riverbank to drink some water, hoping it's clean enough. The sun is starting to set. I have to find shelter soon before it becomes dark. I wander around until I find a large hollow log on its side. This will be perfect. I crawl into the hollow log and open my bag, covering myself with the other jumper to keep as warm as I can. I sleep curled up and use my bag as a pillow. The sun rises. I'm surprised I slept all night. I jog instead of running so I won't tire so quickly. After a few hours, I come across a familiar road. This is the road going into the city. I've definitely passed Jim's diner. I stay off the road because I don't want to be found. I spot the black Mercedes in the distance. I sense it's a bad idea to run toward it, but I do. Out on the road, I watch the black Mercedes slow down to a halt. The back window rolls down. "Hello, Zenith," I say. "I was beginning to worry, Astrid. I haven't seen you for a few days," he says. "I'd like to take you up on that job offer if you'll still have me," I say, nervously. Zenith smirks. "When can you start?" he asks. "I can start now if you like," I offer. Zenith looks me up and down, studying me. He is curious. "Has something happened, Astrid?" he asks. "I'm no longer living with my father, and no one here is looking to employ new staff," I explain, leaving Riker out of the story. "I see," he says, scratching his half-missing ear. He opens the car door and gets out. "You may as well hop in. You work for me now," he says with a smile. I quickly look around to make sure no one is watching and climb into the car. Zenith scans the area to see what I'm looking at and doesn't say anything about it. A young guy in the car smiles at me and pats the seat next to him, motioning for me to sit. Sitting next to him, I click my belt in. "Astrid, this is John, one of my twin sons," Zenith introduces him. "Nice to meet you," I say, politely holding my hand out to shake his. John places a kiss on my hand as he takes it. "It is a pleasure to meet you, Astrid," he replies with a cocky smile. He looks a lot like Zenith, but less bulky and much thinner. He has the same dark eyes, dark hair, nose, a few days' stubble grows on his face. "So, your business, Zenith Creations. What is it you do exactly?" I ask. Zenith chuckles. "I do many things. Mainly, I have meetings with high-profile clients. I go through their designs and make their products," he explains. "Oh, okay. What would I be employed to do?" I ask. "I need a personal assistant to take some calls, book appointments, make me coffee, and run little errands," he says. "Okay," I smile. I look out the window. I wish things were different with you, Riker. I wish I was back in your arms. I wish Vanessa and Alice weren't part of the pack. "Astrid, I need to talk to you about something before we arrive," Zenith says with a smile. "I must say it is very clever of you hiding your scent with those leaves. I suggest you leave them in your pocket." "How do you know I am a werewolf?" I ask, surprised. Zenith's eyes change into his wolf's eyes. "I'm also a werewolf, and the alpha of my pack." His eyes change back to his human irises. John is grinning. My chest suddenly feels tight, and I start hyperventilating. "Stop the car, please," I yell. Ignore her, Ralph. She is just overreacting, Zenith says to the driver, placing his hand on my shoulder, making me flinch. Astrid, you are one of us. I'm not going to hurt you. I am hoping you'll even consider joining my pack. You'll have our full protection from whoever you're running from. He smirks. I am not running from anyone. Zenith sighs and pinches his brow bone with his thumb and index finger. Astrid, you don't have to play dumb. I know you're running from someone. Who are you running from? He asks. It doesn't matter who I'm running from. I won't see them again, I say, sadly looking away. Well, my offer always stands. Become part of my pack, and you'll always have full protection. He repeats. We've arrived, he says, as the car pulls to a stop. He opens the car door and reaches his arm out for my hand to help me out of the car. Thank you, I say, stepping out of the car and feeling John brush up behind me as he gets out of the car. I step forward to put space between us and ignore him. We're in an underground car park. I follow Zenith to an elevator, step in and stand beside Zenith at the back. John stands in front of us. I feel a bit underdressed wearing a hoodie and jeans while they wear expensive suits. After a few minutes, the elevator stops and the doors open with a ding. I step into a large, clean, classy foyer. I follow Zenith to a large door. This is the waiting room, he says. The large room is filled with luxurious couches and recliners, designer coffee tables, fancy vases, and fresh flowers. A long U-shaped desk adorns a wall, and a large water feature another wall. This will be your desk. You will greet the clients and offer them drinks. There is a kitchen with a coffee machine and a fridge behind you. Give my clients whatever they want, he says. I nod. This room behind your desk is my office. Don't let anyone in until you have told me that they are here via call. I will tell you when I'm ready for them. What if they refuse to wait and enter your office? I ask. Use your common sense. Do what you must. Just don't let them in, he says. Okay, I say, exhaling and visualizing all sorts of possible scenarios in my mind. If you need to call a client, this screen has all client details. This screen here is your diary to book clients in. I have access to it on my laptop, he explains. Brooke is my assistant downstairs. If you need anything, call her. Her number is there on the desk, he says. Okay, I'll get her to bring you up a skirt, suit, blouse, pantyhose, and court shoes. There is a staff bathroom down the hall to the right. Have a shower, get changed, and put some makeup on, he says, smiling before leaving. Okay, I say, smiling at his hospitality. 10 minutes later, Brooke comes upstairs with a cream blouse, navy skirt, suit, black pantyhose, and black court shoes, in my size. Hello, I believe these are for you, she says, smiling. I'm Brooke. Brooke, nice to meet you. I'm Astrid, thank you, I say, taking the outfit from her. Brooke is slim, petite, and has blonde hair and blue eyes. She wears a navy skirt suit too. I have to go now, but if you need anything, feel free to call me, she says, smiling and going downstairs. I go into the bathroom, shower, and admire the gorgeous corporate attire, hanging it up on a hook. The hot water stings parts of my skin, but feels glorious. Nonetheless, after an exhausting morning, it is exactly what I need. I push my feet into the black pantyhose and pull them up over my hips, letting the black elasticated waistband rest on my stomach. They're not too tight and they fit perfectly. I step into the navy skirt and zip it. It too fits me perfectly like a glove. The cream blouse is silk. I tuck it into the top of the waist-high skirt and revel in the way it feels against my skin. I push my arms into the structured sleeves of the gorgeous navy blazer and step into the court shoes, which are my size. I find a brush and a bag of cosmetics under the bathroom basin. I brush my hair and scoop it up into a scrunchied bun before applying some foundation, eyeliner, mascara, and red lipstick. I look at myself in the mirror. I feel and look $1,000,000. I leave my old clothes, socks, and shoes in the vanity. With one final coat of red lipstick to my lips, I stuff the gold-encased lipstick into my blazer pocket and push the bathroom door open. I'm just about to take a seat at the desk when a man enters. I know him straight away to be James, John's twin brother. He looks me up and down like I'm a snack and whistles. "You accepted Dad's job offer, I see," he says with a grin. "I did. It is a pleasure to meet you, James," I say in a most polite manner. "The pleasure is all mine," he says, taking my hand and placing a kiss on it, like father, like son. He winks at me and walks to the office to the right of Zenith's, before stopping and turning to look at me. "In case you haven't been told, this is my office. The one on the other side of Dad's is John's. We work together sometimes in Dad's office," he says, smiling. Nodding, I smile. The phone rings and I answer it in my best professional voice. "Zenith Creations, Astrid speaking. How may I help you?" I say. "It is Dom Hayes. I need to see Zenith as soon as possible." "Okay, sir, please hold on a moment." I open the diary screen and find a free spot tomorrow. "Mr. Hayes, I can book you in for 2 p.m. tomorrow," I offer. "Okay, I'll see him tomorrow," Mr. Hayes says, ending the call before I can say goodbye. I spend the day answering calls from clients, booking appointments, and passing on messages. Halfway through the day, I look up to see John and James leaning over my desk, looking right at me with coy expressions. "Is there something I can help you with?" I ask them. "Actually, Astrid, there is something you can help me with. If you could follow me into my office," John says. James elbows him playfully. "Don't mind him, he is just stirring," James says. "We would both love a coffee," James says, winking and smiling. "How would you like your coffee?" I ask, ignoring John's smirks. "Latte, no sugar. John will have the same." "Okay." I walk into the kitchen and have a look at the big copper industrial coffee machine sitting on the granite benchtop Sushin. How am I going to use this thing? I try to recall what I was taught in my 6-hour barista class a few years ago. I surprise myself and manage to make the coffees expertly. I put a glass and 1 teaspoon on each saucer and walk with them out to the boys. They're looking at me like I'm some divine goddess who makes barista-style coffee just for them. I put the lattes down in front of them. They're impressed. "Won't your father be annoyed? You two are out here staring at me instead of working," I ask. James grins. "You're right, Astrid," he says, gives me a wink, and returns to his office with his latte. "John, get back to work," he laughs. John returns to his office with his latte. "You know how to handle those two, don't you?" Brooke giggles. "You must tell me about yourself. How old are you? Where are you from?" she asks. "I'll be 18 in 5 days. I used to live with my dad a 45-minute walk from here," I reply. "How exciting. You'll meet your wolf this week," she says excitedly. I give a fake smile. "Yes, so excited," I say, with a tinge of sarcasm and sadness. The phone rings. "I better get back to my desk downstairs," Brooke says, running downstairs in her court shoes. I answer the phone. "Zenith Creations, Astrid speaking. How may I help you? I ask. It is me, Zenith. Make us both a latte and bring them to my office, he says, ending the call. I push open his door with the lattes in my hands and put them on his desk. You've done well today, Astrid, he says. Thank you, I reply, sipping my latte. We need to discuss your living arrangements. You can stay in the pack house with me and the boys if you're comfortable to do so, Zenith offers. I pause in thought at his offer. I don't have anywhere to stay and I don't want to live with his sons. What choice do I have? Okay, just for now though, I smile, accepting his offer. Good, it is settled then, he smiles, sipping his latte. At 5 p.m. I follow Zenith to the elevator. John and James follow behind. You can hop in with me, James offers, smiling. Thank you. I'll go with your dad, I say, smiling. I get into Zenith's car. An important phone call takes his attention for the duration of our ride home. We arrive, and I see a sign that reads Shady Crest. I gulp. This is the pack Vanessa and Alice are from. This is the pack who abused Vanessa and used her as the pack slave. Is something wrong? John asks, staring at me. No, I'm just admiring the house. It is so lovely, I say, trying to contain my nerves. His house is large and impressive. Not as big as Riker's, but still gorgeous. The car stops. Zenith opens his door and helps me out. My court shoes crunch on pristine white gravel. Are you okay, Astrid? You're shaking, he says. I am fine. I'm just a bit cold, I lie, rubbing my arms. Let's go inside. We walk up 20 stone steps to a glossy green front door and walk inside into a foyer. Zenith puts his black leather case on a nearby table with his coat. This way to the dining room, he says, smiling. I follow him into the dining room. People sit at a long mahogany table and are being served plates of food by employees. Everyone goes quiet and stands with Zenith's arrival. I'd like to formally introduce you to Astrid, he says, placing a hand on my back. There are a few gasps and whispers among them. Silence, Zenith says calmly. Astrid will be staying with us. Hopefully she joins our pack too. I know I can count on you to make her feel welcome and at home, he says, with utmost authority in his voice. Zenith walks to his chair at the head of the table. Astrid, you may dine next to me tonight, he says. I nod and sit in the chair next to him. All eyes are on me. I look around the table and give a nervous but friendly smile. They all smile and nod. I realize they're excited I'm here. I begin eating and one by one they introduce themselves to me. James sits next to me and John sits opposite me. The pretty girl next to John shakes my hand. I am Amelia, John's alliance, she says, smiling. I look at John, tilting my head in surprise. John, you never mentioned you had a alliance, I say. Oh, didn't I? He says. James smirks. I suppose you have a alliance too, then? I ask James. He smiles while eating. No, actually, I haven't. Dad is telling me to choose one, though, he says, winking and brushing my leg with his under the table. I blush and look away. Amelia, I'd love you to give me a tour of the house, I say, smiling at her. I would love to, Astrid, she replies with a smile. We finish our meals and she skips around the table and links her arm with mine. Let's tour, she says excitedly. Strange that Vanessa said she was a slave here and suppress. Everyone seems pretty civilized here. Everyone has been very nice. I might even get used to the boys flirting. I'm sure I can find out more information through Amelia. This is the dining room, she giggles. She shows me through the kitchen, the hallways, and the bedrooms upstairs. This is my room, mine and John's. This room over here is vacant. You can take this room if you like, then we will be near each other, she says, excitedly. Sure, I'll take it, I say, smiling. The room is simple and nice. It doesn't have a bathroom, though. Where would I find the bathroom? I ask. Only the highest ranks here get their own bathrooms. There are a couple of communal bathrooms, one 2 doors up and the other down the hall. If you need anything, James' bedroom is next to yours. She smiles. Oh, thanks. That is awesome, I say, hiding my unease. You didn't bring anything with you. I'll give you a nightie to wear, she says, crossing the hallway to her room. Thanks, I smile, and accept the nightie and towels she comes back with. Here you go, she says. Have a good sleep. I'll see you tomorrow, she says, skipping to her room. In the bathroom, I lock the door behind me and shower. I return to my room in the nightie when I'm fresh and clean. I can barely sleep. Riker is on my mind all night. I'm apprehensive and nervous about the wolf shift in 4 days. I get dressed, make the bed, and make my way downstairs to the dining room for breakfast. There are a few members already at the table eating. Amelia is one of them. Good morning, Astrid, she says. Good morning, everyone, I say, smiling and sitting next to Amelia. The other ladies smile. You'll have to tell me all about Shady Crest, I tell Amelia. Alpha Zenith is obviously our alpha, she giggles. Yep, I think I got that, I giggle. We train here daily, including the she-wolves. Alpha Zenith likes to keep our strong reputation. We're the strongest pack, and we should always be prepared, just in case another pack becomes a threat. And we need to take them out. His eldest son, James, hasn't found his alliance yet. Alpha Zenith has one in mind. He won't say who just yet, but says he will only settle for the strongest she-wolf, as James will eventually take over as Alpha, she explains. What if James finds his true alliance in the meantime? I ask. Alpha Zenith is also part of the council called the Elders. They have the power to vote and choose an Alpha's alliance for them, if they feel their current alliance is inadequate. If they don't suit as Luna or don't benefit the pack, she explains. Alpha Zenith is part of the Elders' Council. Riker said they had wanted Vanessa as Riker's alliance. Why would Alpha Zenith make Vanessa Luna of Shadow Crest when she was the pack slave here at Shady Crest? It doesn't make any sense. That's terrible, to remove someone's true alliance, a alliance that the moon goddess chose for you. Love is all that should matter. Being with your true alliance, your one true love, I say, feeling my eyes well up, thinking of Riker. Amelia, where is Alpha Zenith's alliance? Where is the Luna of Shady Crest? I ask. Amelia bites her lip and looks at the other 2 ladies sitting at the table eating breakfast. You see, they quickly stand and bow their heads. Alpha Zenith walks into the room. Astrid, good to see you're ready for work, he smiles. Good morning, I reply nervously. Other pack members approach the table for breakfast once we're all done, and I follow Zenith to his car. I sit in the back of the Mercedes with only Zenith this morning. Is John not joining us? I ask. No, he will be going in his own car today. Oh, okay, I say. I want to discuss some things privately with you, he says. I'm nervous and don't know what to expect. It's your 18th in 4 days, he says. Yes, that's correct, I say. Zenith rubs his half-missing ear in thought. I want to ask him about it, but don't want to be rude. You would be a great asset to my pack, Astrid. When you turn 18, you'll be able to sense your alliance, he states. Yes, I know, I say, unsure where he is going with this. You know my son James hasn't found his alliance yet and is of age. What does it have to do with me? I ask. What would you say if I wanted you to be his chosen alliance? He asks. I'm flattered, but I would prefer to find my true alliance. What if you don't find him? He asks. What if I do? I retort. He lets out a chuckle. Oh, Astrid, you are a stubborn one. Perhaps think about the idea for a few days, he says, smiling. Why would you want someone weak like me to be your son's alliance? Wouldn't you want a strong she-wolf to bear his pups? I ask. You'll find out why I'm asking when you shift into your wolf on your birthday, he says, still smiling. What is he on about? An alliance with James. I don't want to be with anyone other than Riker, even if Riker does move on with Vanessa. Just the thought of being with someone else makes me feel nauseous. We arrive in the underground car park and ascend in the elevator in silence. I take my seat at my desk and start answering phone calls. John and James go into their dad's office. James winks on his way in. Zenith Creations. Astrid speaking. How may I help you? I say. Tell the boss I got his special delivery here, he ordered. The caller says. Okay, and who is speaking? I ask. Beta Glenn, he replies. I put Beta Glenn on hold and call Zenith. Beta Glenn says he has your special delivery here. I inform him. Tell him to bring him up right away. Okay. I press the button for Glenn. Zenith says bring him up right away. I hang up the phone. That is weird referring to it as a him. 2 guards led the captured spy into the study. Zenith stood before him, exerting a powerful commanding pressure that made the room freeze. The spy sat in a chair, his eyes lowered, completely bound by a glowing magical restriction spell. From outside the closed door, one could feel the intense aura of a severe interrogation. Zenith reviewed the magical parchment on his desk, his voice calm but terrifyingly deep. Take him back to the containment chamber, Zenith ordered coldly, and the guards escorted the bound spy away quietly. He squints and studies me a moment. Vanessa, what's his alliance's name? He asks. My stomach churns. I'm going to be sick. No one can help me. Jim's diner is up the road. I pull the handle on the car door, but it won't open because it's locked. Vanessa has told him my name. Zenith laughs at my struggles. I'm just a pawn in his game. How many people have I been a pawn to? I try punching the windows. Vanessa, rest assured she won't be a problem and won't be returning to Shadowcrest. I have her with me right now, he says, laughing. Oh, Astrid, the windows are bulletproof. Give it up already, honey, he says, placing his hand on my leg. Resist the binding spell, I yell. Vanessa, I need to go. Your brother's betrothed needs to be put in her place. Yes, that's right. Why? Because I said so. You'll find out in a few days, he says, ending the call. Slumped in the seat defeated, Zenith leaps forward, grabs me aggressively by the hair, and yanks me toward him. You never told me Alpha Riker was your alliance. You'll let James mark you after your first shift. Vanessa is meant for Alpha Riker, he shouts. He releases me and shoves me back onto the seat. Tears run down my face. The car stops outside the pack house. Zenith gets out of the car and waits for me to get out. He even goes as far as holding out his hand to me, which I definitely do not want to take. Don't make this difficult, Astrid. I will drag you out if I have to, he yells. I ignore him. When he leans in and tries to grab me, I start kicking and yelling. Resist the binding spell. Get away from me. James and John are standing behind him. Dad, what is going on? James asks. She refuses to accept the arrangement, Zenith sneered, casting a heavy shadow bind that forced me to step out of the vehicle against my will. The magical shock left me weak on the ground before they brought me into the inner sanctuary. James approached, using his dominating alpha aura to trap me against the corner, refusing to let me leave. He leaned in close to whisper a cold reminder of the upcoming contract. I turned my head away, my spirit fiercely resisting his presence. Stand back, I stated firmly, setting an absolute psychological boundary. Get her, boys, Zenith yells. John and James chase me in their wolf forms. I run through the trees and slip, rolling down a hill dangerously quickly. Covered in more scrapes and dirt, my hair is messy with leaves and twigs sticking out on all sorts of angles. I continue to run. Riker, I scream. Shh, shh. James whispers, stroking my face, struggling to free myself. My movements are futile. Stop trying to fight me, he whispers. Tears roll down my cheeks. Consummating the pairing already, John laughs. Fuck off, John, he says to his brother. Why did you scream out for Riker? James asks. He slowly removes his hand, and I spit in his face. John laughs. You better put her in her place before Dad does, James. You know he won't tolerate her treating you like that, John warns. James looks at me and wipes the spit from his face with his free hand. Look, if you're going to be soft about it, I'll put her in her place for you, James says. Tell me, Astrid, why did you call out for Riker? He asks. I want to spit in his face again, but before I can, he covers my mouth with his hand. Astrid, I don't want to hurt you, but you will leave me no choice if you don't answer me, he snaps. He removes his hand from my mouth. I look away, crying. Answer me, Astrid. This is your last warning, he says. I look James dead in the eyes. Alpha Riker is my alliance, and I'm the Luna of Shadow Crest. I suggest you take your hands off me before Riker finds out where I am and rips you apart, limb by limb. I threaten. James' shock doesn't stop him growling. You're my alliance, not his, he says. Why didn't the moon goddess bless me with an alliance like you? Why did she bless Alpha Riker with you? He asks, frustrated. Why are you doing this? You have your alliance. You have Amelia, I yell. A flash appears out of nowhere. James pulls John off me. Are you fucking crazy? He yells at John. Not only did you almost mark my alliance, you would have defeated Amelia for marking another she-wolf, James yells. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. Don't tell Amelia, he says. I'm not going to tell her anything. It's Astrid you need to worry about with Amelia. I let them discuss their issues and run again. They shift, catch me again, and James knocks me down. In human form, he holds my arms behind my back. Enough, Astrid, he snaps, lifting me up with my arms still restrained, so I can't hit him. I burst into tears against his naked chest as he carries me back to the pack house. About energy time, bring her downstairs, Zenith growls, walking down the staircase. To the inner sanctuary, James questions. Do you really expect her to stay in her room obediently? He asks. No, but, he says, She'll keep in one of the inner sanctuary until she has been marked by you. She won't be able to escape from there, Zenith points out. John and James follow Zenith downstairs to the basement. It's dark and eerie, and I can hear water trickling in the walls or the drain pipes, and the squeaking sounds of mice. Our exhalations are misty in the coldness. I'm shivering. James pulls me closer to keep me warm. Zenith unlocks a cell door. James walks in and places me on a stone bench, which is also my bed. Chains with silver cuffs adorn the walls, and I'm thankful James doesn't cuff me. He kisses me on the forehead instead, making me shudder. It'll be okay, Astrid. We have some things to sort out. The sooner you let me mark you, the sooner you can get out of this cell, he says, holding my face gently in his hands. I jerk my head out of his grasp. I hug my knees on the bench and cry as they walk away. It's dirty and cold where I sit. The stone wall behind me is covered in cobwebs. The few other inner sanctuary I can see are the same. It's pitch black. Not even moonlight comes in. Riker, I'm scared. I'm so scared. Please save me. I want to be back in your arms. I cry out, but no one can hear. At midnight, I'm still awake and freezing to death. I hear light footsteps coming downstairs. I squint toward the stairs to see who it is. Astrid, it's me, Amelia, she whispers. Jumping up, I run to cell door. Amelia, please, Amelia. You have to help me. Please unlock the door. I beg. Shh. I'm not supposed to be down here. I'll get into trouble if anyone finds out, she whispers. She passes me my hoodie from my room. I thought you'd need this. I know how cold it gets down here, she says. Have they put you down here before? I ask. Amelia nods. It was a long time ago. Alpha Zenith bought me from my old pack. He chose me as John's alliance. I had to stay down here until John marked me, she says sadly. John isn't your fated alliance? I ask in disbelief. Number and I haven't been able to leave the pack house since. If I did find my true alliance, he wouldn't want me now. I'm marked and allianced by another, she sobs. Oh, Amelia, I'm so sorry, I say empathically. I overheard James and Alpha Zenith arguing about you upstairs. James is begging him to let him chain you up in his room instead of down here. That's how I knew you were down here, she whispers. We hold hands through the bars. I don't want you to have the same fate as me, Astrid. I will do everything in my power to help you out of here, she says, as her eyes go glassy with tears. I have to go now. I'll come back when everyone is asleep tomorrow night. Don't let him mark you no matter what, she says, as she walks away. Alpha, Riker. I'm excited to spend the day with Astrid every day. She trusts me more and more. She is thankfully adjusting to werewolf life. After my shower, I knock on her door. There's no answer. I knock again. Astrid, are you awake? I open the door. Her bed is neat and creaseless. She hasn't slept in it. Strange. I knock on the ensuite door. She isn't there either. One of her drawers is open. Inside, her clothes have been flung about like she was looking for something in a hurry. My stomach sinks. Her bag is gone. I sprint downstairs to the dining room. Seth and Mia are at the table with Kane, Haley, and Vanessa. They all stand as I enter. Has anyone seen Astrid? I ask. They shrug and say they haven't. Is she still asleep? Mia asks. No, she isn't there. And her bag is gone too, I say in a panic. Riker, I am sure she's around somewhere. I'll mind link the pack to keep an eye out for her, Seth suggests. Running through the house, I call out for Astrid, searching every room. I come back to the dining room. She isn't in the house. I panic. Alpha Riker, your breakfast is ready, Alice says, smiling. You haven't seen Astrid, have you, Alice? I ask. No, Alpha. I've been in the kitchen since 6 a.m. I haven't seen her, she replies, smiling. I run out the front door. I can just pick up her scent. I rip my clothes off and shift into my wolf. I let out a deafening, sad howl and race toward the scent. An hour later, I'm deep in the woods when her scent vanishes. I run in different directions, becoming more and more distressed. Astrid, I don't understand why you'd leave me. Where would you go? I think about where she might have gone. The diner is the only place I can think of. There's no way she would have gone back to her dad. Jim, I shout, Jim. All the customers freeze in shock at my nudity. An overweight man catches his wife grinning. He covers her eyes with his hands and gives me a very unimpressed look. Riker, damn it. Get some clothes on. We're full of customers. Jim yells. Astrid, have you seen her? I ask in a rush. No, I haven't seen her since she left with you, he says. Shit, she's missing. Her bag is gone. I don't know why she would run away. I panic. I'll call you if I see her. In the meantime, you need to leave. My female customers are gawking, and their husbands want to give you a black eye, Jim says. I sigh, leaving the diner and shift back into my wolf, searching the woods, hoping to pick up her scent. I find nothing, not a trace of her anywhere. I mind Link, Seth, and Kane and tell them to organize search parties. I don't return home for 24 hours until I have no choice but to rest. In bed, a hand rests on my chest. Astrid. I sit up and see Vanessa asleep in my bed next to me. I let out a loud growl, waking her up. Riker, don't growl at me. You need to get over her. Astrid left because she doesn't love you. She doesn't want you or the responsibility of being Luna, Vanessa says. Get out of my bed and out of my room now, Vanessa, I yell. Fine, but sooner or later you're going to have to accept me as your chosen alliance, whether you like it or not. You know, the elders don't want a weak runaway as Luna, she says, getting out of my bed. Jumping out of bed, with my hand around her neck, I pin Vanessa to the wall. Don't you ever call my alliance weak again. Do you hear me? I yell. Riker, you are hurting me, she says. I let go, letting her drop to the floor. She holds her neck and looks up at me, her eyes well. Get out now, I yell. She stands and runs out the room. Making my way downstairs, I find Seth. Alpha Riker, we had 5 search parties look for her while you slept. We found no trace of her. We will keep searching until she is found. Alpha. Nodding, I sit at the dining table. Seth, tell Alice to be quick with the food. I need to continue looking for Astrid, I order. Seth nods, goes to the kitchen, and moments later Alice brings me a plate of food and puts it on the table in front of me. Alpha Riker, I'm very displeased with your behavior toward my daughter. She has done nothing wrong. Why can't you just accept her as your chosen alliance? At least she won't run away. Alice snaps. Glaring at Alice, I let out a growl of warning. Alice, I suggest you get back in the kitchen because my wolf is not in the mood today to tolerate anyone's shit, and I suggest you just accept that Vanessa will never be my alliance. I snap back. Alice glares at me and storms back to the kitchen. I finish my meal and walk out the door adamant. I'll find Astrid. Alpha Riker. I look up to see one of my best warriors, Leon, racing toward me. Leon, I greet him. Alpha Riker, we have some good news and some bad news. We picked up Astrid's scent in the city. It is faint, but it is her. The bad news is we haven't found her yet. But with this lead, we'll hopefully have your alliance home soon, he says. The city, what would Astrid be doing all the way in the city? She doesn't know anyone there. Very good, Leon. I'll join you in the city. Show me where you picked up her scent, I command. I'll get Seth to drive us. It would be quicker in wolf form. But we can't look for her naked, Leon points out. Nodding, I mind link Seth to get the car. On the way there, I'm hopeful we'll find her. I should have her back in my arms today. I just want to inhale her scent, feel the sparks between us, and taste her lips. We split up when we arrive in the city. It's definitely her scent, but it's so faint that it can't be followed. I decide we'll spend the day in the city keeping a lookout for her. Mind linking Leon and Seth, I tell them. Maybe she is working in one of the shops. It might be worth looking in the stores for her. I enter hundreds of stores, there is no sign of her, and her scent can't be picked up anywhere else. Nightfall nears when Seth mind links, saying he'll stay the night in the city to keep searching. Leon drives me back to the house for food and rest, promising to drive back in the morning, when we'll take over from Seth. It's a very difficult drive home. I was so sure we would find her today. Arriving, Alice opens the front door. Alpha Riker, I want to apologize for this morning. I was out of line. I hope you'll forgive me, she says. I sigh. I can't be bothered arguing with her. Forgiveness is easier. You're forgiven, Alice, if you accept Astrid as your Luna. Alice pauses in thought for a moment and nods. Of course, Alpha, she says with a hesitant smile. I made a special dinner for you tonight, Alpha, she says, gesturing to the food on the table. I sit at the table and eat alone. Everyone else ate and left before I got home. After drinking the tea, a deep, unnatural exhaustion overcame me. Alpha, you look awfully tired. May I suggest you rest for the night, Alice says. I nod, making my way to my room. The entire room began to blur. I grab onto the armchair and sit down, kicking my shoes off. I wait for the swaying to stop. My door creaks open. Is someone there? I ask, squinting at the figure I can barely make out. It's me, she says. Astrid, is that you? I ask. I try to stand. I struggle to get my balance. I feel a hand gently press against my chest. A shadow approached, trying to take advantage of my weakened state to force a binding ritual. I blinked, realizing it wasn't the voice I longed for. Vanessa. I gathered my remaining strength to reject her presence. The true alliance cannot be forced by a mere enchantment. What have you done to me? I yell. Riker, please. Astrid is not coming back. I'm doing you and the pack a favor, she yells. I try to mind link Leon and Kane, but I can't connect. Did you mystical tea me? I ask. Not exactly, she says. I try to crawl to my door. I'm about to lose consciousness. I fall into darkness before I can get to it. He is too heavy, Mum. We can't even roll him, Vanessa says. I squint, letting my eyes adjust. I haven't moved from my spot on the floor. My head is pounding and nausea creeps over me. I mind link Leon and Kane for help. I'm still groggy but can see a bit clearer. Quick, do it now, Vanessa. Alice yells, shoving Vanessa toward me. Vanessa restrictions me and bares her fangs over my neck. I want to push her off, but Alice hits me across the head with a heavy object. Her fangs just pierce my skin when Leon and Kane barge in and pull her off me. Alpha, are you okay? Kane asks, standing, I lean against the wall for support. Bring Alice to me now, I snap. Leon has Alice's arms behind her back. He pushes her toward me. I grip her neck tightly with my hand. What did you do to Astrid? Where is she? I yell. Alice is struggling to breathe, but forces a smile at my words. I squeeze her neck tighter. I will defeat you right now if you do not tell me, I warn. She struggles for breath and gives a small nod. I release my grip only enough for her to speak. The morning she disappeared, she came into the kitchen for something to eat. No one else was up yet. I warned her to leave. I told her to save herself the heartbreak of the elders choosing Vanessa over her and to leave. I threatened to defeat her before her first shift if she didn't leave. My wolf growls ferociously in her face. I'm struggling to control it. As much as I want to see Alice dead, defeating Alice won't bring Astrid back. I throw her across the room. Kane, Leon, take them both to the inner sanctuary where they will stay, I yell. I manage to get back into the armchair. Leon and Kane return a short while later with a jug of water and a glass. They place them on the table next to me. Alice must have enchantmented my food. I felt dizzy after eating it. I couldn't even stand up straight. Vanessa pretended to be Astrid and she seduced me. She wanted to mark me, I explain. Leon and Kane look at each other with worry. Alpha, you should rest in bed today until it wears off, Kane says. No, we need to find Astrid. Have any of you heard from Seth? I ask. Number, we'll go into the city, we'll take over from him. You won't be much help, Alpha, in your condition, Leon says. Sculling 2 large glasses of water, I stand. I'm fine, I say, only to fall back into the armchair. Come on, Alpha, Leon says, grabbing one arm and Kane the other, lifting me over to my bed. Rest, Alpha. We'll mind link you the moment we hear anything or find her. I'll get Haley and Mia to check on you throughout the day. Mind link them if you need anything, Kane says. They leave, and not long after that, I'm asleep. I wake that afternoon and mind link them. Any progress? I ask. I don't know how to tell you this, Alpha, but we haven't been able to mind link Seth or find him. He has gone AWOL, Kane links. Attempting to mind link Seth myself, nothing happens. Something must have happened to him. He wouldn't just disappear. He would have mind linked us. I link Kane and Leon. Keep searching for them both. Keep trying to mind link Seth. I will be in the city soon. And yes, I'm feeling much better, so I will be of use. We spend all night searching for Astrid and Seth. I don't understand. Astrid has vanished without a trace, and now Seth. What if someone is involved in their disappearance? Who? There are only 2 nights until Astrid shifts. I need to find her now. Returning home, I want to feel as close to Astrid as possible. I go into her room and look around. Her scent is strong on the couch. I lie on the couch, and a few thoughts cross my mind. Astrid has been sleeping here instead of her bed. It smells strongly of vanilla and cookies. It explains why her bed looks as fresh as the day she got here. Why wouldn't she sleep in the bed? Drifting off to sleep on the couch, I dream of Astrid. I kiss her lips and look into her beautiful green eyes. Astrid, my alliance. I am so blessed the moon goddess chose us to be together, I say. Riker, I want to be by your side forever, she whispers, looking into my eyes. Before we can kiss, she disappears from my arms. Astrid, wait, come back. Astrid. I sit upright on the couch and look around the quiet room. It was just a dream. I stare at the floor, finding a business card. Zenith Creations. We were near that building yesterday. Why would Astrid be at Zenith Creations? How does she even know Alpha Zenith? That pack has always been bad news. I link Kane and Leon. Get the car ready. I think I know where Astrid is. I put the card in my pocket. Walking outside, I get in the car. Where are we going? Kane asks. Zenith Creations, I say. Kane and Leon give each other a look. What has Alpha Zenith got to do with Astrid? Kane asks. We're about to find out, I reply.